Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and introduce week 13 to you. We're going to be looking at the preterite tense. You're going to want to study pages 220 to 222 and pages 234 to 236, and you're going to want to review pages 146 to 179. After completing this week's assignments, you should be able to report past events and activities. You also should be able to demonstrate that you can recall the vocabulary needed to order meals and discuss cooking and recipes. You should also be able to demonstrate that you can use the verbs dar and decir and indirect object pronouns to talk about things and express to whom or for whom something is intended. You should also be able to demonstrate that you can use the verb gustar and other verbs like gustar to express likes and dislikes. Okay, all of this week's work is due by the 8th of November. You want to start out this week like any other week by looking at the instructor-made videos. They're instructor-made videos on irregular verbs and the preterite as we continue to study the preterite tense. When you're done, click on the class participation forum, click on the thread, and post and hit reply and post any questions or concerns you have about the material covered in the class thus far. We are going to take a test on Chapter 6. If you're in the online class, you'll be taking this. You'll have to complete it by the end of the day, the 8th. And if you are in the face-to-face class, we're going to be taking this in class on the 9th. Okay. So the first part is los hábitos de comer. So you're going to listen to the eating habits of Manuel y Aldo and decide whether each statement is cierto or falso. If the information is not given, select no se menciona. So I am going to read this script to my in-seat class, to my online class. You know the drill. You'll be listening to a recording of it that you can listen to as many times as you would like. Then you read the statements below and decide whether they are true or false or not mentioned based upon what was read to you. Identificar, label each of the following pictures. Be sure to include the definite article. This is from Chapter 6. Just make sure you have a the. You can't just say coffee maker or coffee. You need to say the coffee maker. Here, ¿qué es esto? Match each definition with the correct word. So you have a definition here and a list of words up here. You'll just write the word that matches the definition. Pronombres, choose the answer that best completes each sentence. So you are filling in the indirect object pronoun. And so you're going to be looking for the indirect object mentioned in the sentence and then matching it to its pronoun. Okay, which is going to be looking a lot of times for what follows this little a los, that tells you who the indirect object is. Because remember that if you're repeating instructions, the person that's doing the repeating is the subject. What's being repeated are the instructions. That's the direct object. And to whom they're being repeated, that's your indirect object. So that's what you're looking for each time. Here you're choosing between dar and decir, and you need to pick the correct spelling, the spelling that lets us know who it is that's doing the giving or the saying or telling. But remember that these guys are not your subject. They're to whom something is being told or given. So you need to look, you don't conjugate for them, conjugate for somebody else in the sentence. Gustar, complete each of the sentences by selecting the most logical verb. These are verbs that function like gustar, and remember, most of the time they're going to be in the third person because you're not conjugating for the person, you're conjugating for the thing that bores you or the thing that interests you or the thing that pleases you. Okay. Here, los verbos en el pretérito, you complete the following sentences with the correct preterite form of the logical verb. So you're going to pick the verb that makes most sense, and then you're going to conjugate it into the preterite tense. And don't forget the spelling changes that need to be made for verbs that end in gar, car, or zar. Okay, los verbos que terminan en car, gar, and zar. What's special about these verbs? Remember that they change their spelling in the first person of the preterite tense. So if they are supposed to be conjugated in the first person, that you have to make a spelling change before you add the appropriate ending. And here, complete the sentence by choosing the appropriate verb. So the verbs have already been conjugated into the preterite. You pick which verb and which spelling of the verb would best complete the sentence. And that's everything you have to do for this test. Okay. For assignment 13, you're going to visit My Language Labs. You're going to click on the alarm clock and you're going to complete these SAM activities and these extra practice activities. So if you go out here to your, what are we in? You'll want to go to your course calendar and make sure you're in November, and then you just click on, I think these are due on the 15th if I'm not mistaken, and then you should see all of the assignments that were assigned to you. Let's see here. Oh, this is the 8th, sorry. Click on the 8th. And you'll see all of the assignments that were assigned to you, and you need to go in, click on them, and then complete them and submit them. And remember, you can do them as many times as you would like, but if you're doing them more than 3 times, I suggest reaching out to me. You also have oral dialogue. You're critiquing a fellow classmate's script. So it's in a previous week at the moment, but it'll get moved down here. You'll open up the workshop, you'll use the rubric provided in the feedback box to give your fellow classmates feedback on the script they plan to use to create their oral dialogue presentation next week. And remember, I will also go through these and just make sure that you do use these corrected scripts when creating your dialogue. And that's everything you have to do for week 13.